Tonight, the memo reflects on what has truly become a national shame: the despicable act of period shaming. Last week, a used sanitary towel was found having been disposed in the wrong bin at a factory in Tigoni. While this would be cause for concern for a reasonable individual, some managers, women to be specific, chose to find out who was behind it by demanding that all female staff strip naked so that they could identify who was on her menses. In 2019, the country was thrown into an uncomfortable sense of anger when a 14-year-old girl from Bomet County died by suicide after being humiliated in front of her classmates by her female teacher for being, quote, dirty. The story goes on that the girl, who is now deceased, was chased out of class at her height of vulnerability. Her crime: starting her period and having no sanitary towel to use, hence staining her uniform. While the Teachers Service Commission said that period shaming was not the cause of the suicide, the uncomfortable introduction to womanhood was dumbfounding. It is uncomfortable to imagine how many more horrifying stories go untold on account of menstruation, a normal biological function, being considered a shameful subject matter. A stigma rooted in a belief system that women are, quote, unclean, owing to nature taking its course. It may cause you some discomfort to hear, but the cost of dismissing it as a, quote, woman's problem is not only retrogressive, but life-threatening. Is the discomfort some may be feeling a manifestation of the ugly side of privilege? Amref Health Africa in February said 65% of women and girls in Kenya cannot afford sanitary pads. That means only 1 in 3 girls has some guarantee of dignity at that time of the month. Then, and this is also very uncomfortable, some men have gone to some unbelievable lows and are using the less fortunate girls' disadvantage to gratify their own sick desires. The Amref report indicated that 2 out of 3 pad users in rural Kenya received the sanitary towels from sexual partners. Yes, sex for pads is a reality in this country. A country where we want all our children to get the best out of their education, but some are disadvantaged by no doing of their own. About 1 million girls miss school for up to 4 days a month while on their periods, which is about 20% of the school year, leaving them vulnerable to early marriage and sexual predators. Yet, they are meant to compete with first the boys in their schools and then girls and boys in more privileged schools for the very same opportunities. While there are many well-wishers stepping in to ease the burden, it is not nearly enough. The government must now step in with greater urgency and root out this national shame or stigmatizing of young girls at their hour of need. After all, the Basic Education Act requires that the state provide free sanitary pads for girls in schools. But beyond the policy positions and actions, how do we collectively guarantee dignity for our girls and women? How do we come to a place of more empathy and not toxicity for our sisters, mothers, daughters, whose quality of life is affected by this unending stigma? Further, how and how much are we preparing our boys to be mature enough to support their sisters, daughters, mothers? Are we teaching them that manning up in such circumstances means softening up and being more human? We must no longer turn the entry into the life-changing phase of puberty into a walk into the hall of shame. Simply, and directly put, some of us just need to grow up, period.